Cake, cake, Reiki or cake. 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 Reiki or cake.
Hello and welcome to Roman Nose. When I'm not eating cake, I do love being in the fields. This is, however, seemingly challenging for some because an appropriate emotional reaction is an oddity for many people. Indeed, in Britain, we are instructed culturally to maintain a stiff upper lip, which has nothing to do with little blue pills or kissing a snowman. It is the perpetual and socially acceptable pursuit of stoic abstinence from displaying any kind of emotion, purely for the endeavour of suffering in silence so that other people can feel more comfortable. Our world is full of people who don't care, who don't feel, who err on the side of selfish rather than selfless. And when you're a more compassionate or caring person, this can be rough. Even more so if you are a particularly rare kind of person, the highly sensitive person. As an HSP or highly sensitive person, it is not simply about being sensitive to the actions, behaviours, words and rough edges of others. It relates to all sensations. When you step into a grocery store and every conversation being had in that store bombards you, but not as much as the hum of the chiller cabinets at the back of the store, which are only a smidge louder than the lights overhead at the back of the store. It's when you need to wear perfume so that random overwhelming aromas outside can be blocked with a familiar and calming scent. When tastes are a whole other level of bliss or repugnance, light gets too bright too quickly, and even gentle touches can send you into spasms of muscle paroxysm. Emotions cause physical pain, electrical misfiring of nerves to create searing heat. A cruel act can open a ravenous maw of feeling completely inadequate and ineffectual to stop such cruelty from happening. The cruelty of the world that dissolves you from the inside out, agonising in ways no thickness of skin will ever shut out completely. And don't even get me started when synesthesia is thrown into the mix. My own acute degree of sensitivity means I often heard the phrase, "You're too sensitive," or "You need to get a thicker skin," or my particular favourite, "I knew you weren't really a nice person. Nobody can be that nice." That one usually happens when a person is so objectionable or nasty I've had to say stop in no uncertain terms. And hey, if you've ever been labelled too sensitive for affirming your own needs, remember, maintaining your personal boundaries never makes you not a nice person, especially when the other person has been callous enough to defecate all over your boundaries without a single thought. Okay, so today we're obviously getting a little bit heated, or the controversy of it all. The world needs highly sensitive people. It's a simple truth. Because where would you rather live? A world full of nurses, doctors, healers, teachers, volunteers, artists, mindful meditators and compassionate carers, or a world full of uncaring, unfeeling narcissists, or as I call it, the world. It's a fact of reality. Without sensitive people, communities, societies, our species, and indeed the world would not and will not survive. It's called humankind for a reason, and we need to focus more on the kind, because we are forgetting what it is to be human. When you are highly sensitive, the world will often tell you to be different, not as caring, not as kind, not as necessary as you really are and were born to be. But as a highly sensitive person, you will experience the world in ways others can't. The first 28 years of my life were unpleasant. They were a lonely, desperately dark place to be, because my own highly sensitive nature made me acutely aware of other people's suffering, even as a child. And if somebody close to me was hurting, I wasn't just observing that suffering, I was feeling it too. With every nerve, I was feeling it. So I would suffer with them, or I could help them to alleviate that suffering. I could take the pain away. Back then, I only knew one way of healing a person's suffering. In the absence of something or someone to blame for the hurt, I would become something or someone to blame. It was once described to me as the ghost. I would become a ghost, a phantom that soaked up all the resentment, criticism, blame, recrimination, hurting and suffering. The thing that people spewed the pain towards and blamed for that pain. I was some unseen spectre in the corner of the room. Unseen because the person I truly was became invisible, with only the reflection of the person's loathing remaining to represent me. I became a punch bag for vitriol and abuse. My ability as a highly sensitive person made me a hate sponge, and I did it willingly, because I could cope with the suffering better than others. I knew suffering so well, and had done since before I learnt to walk, that I was well equipped to handle it. I was resilient enough, even though I didn't feel it at the time. This is an aspect of being a highly sensitive person that few acknowledge. Not only do you feel the world in all of its colours of hurting, but you evolve a tolerance to it. And then, because you have that tolerance, you give others permission to hand over their pain as well. So it becomes easy for people to blame you for their suffering rather than do the difficult thing of dealing with their pain themselves. And now, at the age of 30, the last 2 years have been wonderful. Okay, so that first 28 years became another 28 years, and one thing changed in that time. Reiki. The experience of Reiki and Reiki therapy modalities helped me to help others without sharing their suffering or taking their stuff onto my own shoulders. I'm still highly sensitive and I still struggle with that at times, but Reiki is a constant companion. When I'm struggling with the weight of the world, a constant reminder of balance, harmony and healing, and a constant source of strength, a deep knowing that it's okay. And this is the reality when a highly sensitive person meets the experience of Reiki and Reiki modalities. That same HSP perspective offers you a unique connection to Reiki in other ways that people can't fathom. That very rare combination makes you able to affect change in ways most cannot. So don't hide it, don't run away from it, and never be ashamed of the pain of living that reality. As much as those same people who tell you not to be so sensitive don't realise it, they need you to be exactly who you are. And in this endeavour, I recommend, as part of your Reiki therapy endeavours, to shift perspective from Reiki as a tool that flows through you to a companion that you welcome into every aspect of you. Because Reiki already exists there. By acknowledging that and welcoming Reiki into your awareness, you transition from a person who does Reiki to an integral aspect of that Reiki experience. You embody it, breathe it, live it, and in conjunction with your HSP nature, you will know how best to inspire the Reiki experience in others, where and when they need it most. And beyond this, whatever the world or the people in it throw at you, your constant companion of the universal constant of Reiki will always be there to nurture, to nourish, and to nom a richer and more fulfilling experience of life. Because it's so easy to lose yourself in the pain of others and the suffering of the world. However, Reiki, the ubiquitous force of universal constant, is more than the world and all the horrors in it. It is benevolent, compassionate, and knowing of everything you are and need and were born to be. So remember, it's not a tool, a hammer, or a spanner. It's a foundation upon which you can stand tall and strong and ready to face the world. And eat cake. Lots and lots of cake. For now and always, be enchanted.